Tricks of the trade. The purpose of this video is to give you a hand in getting a wood carving done accurately and completely. And what happens a lot of times along the way, something breaks or you run into a piece of rotten wood. You're not sure how to make horns and get them inserted if you're doing a Native American type of a wood carving. And so I'll cover that in this video. We'll go over some of the things that go wrong when you carve and how to fix them. And if you're one of the ones that orders cottonwood bark through the mail, and you don't get to look at it before it's mailed out to you, sometimes you find out when you get it, it's not good or it's got bug holes in it. And I'll show you how you fix that. Most of the time you can salvage a piece of wood so you don't have to throw it away. And in this DVD called Tricks of the Trade, I'll cover that. I've been a wood carver since about 1975. And so I've had a lot of practice. And if you're like me, I don't give up when I start a wood carving. If something goes wrong, I'm going to fix it. And I don't think that in my lifetime of carving, there's ever been but maybe 2 times I was unable to finish a wood carving due to a defect in the wood. If you hit something really rotten, you're not going to fix that. But for the most part, almost everything can be fixed. Here's a piece of wood that I saw at a woodcarver's show. It's a nice looking piece of wood, pretty thick. I'd say it's in the 2.5 to 3 inches thick, but it's almost a worthless piece of wood. Well, you really can't tell by looking at it. Now, if you look at the bottom of it, things to check out if you're at a woodcarver show and you're going to buy cottonwood. See the wood right here? That spells trouble. That's a lot of bug holes. Too many bug holes you can't fix. I'll go ahead and start with fixing this insect hole right here. And I'll move on to the next one. Okay, now on this particular part of my wood carving, so I'll show you what I do in a case where I've got some narrow and long defects like that. That hole by the eye, which we put the plug in, is no longer visible. See how there's no discoloration from where we put those 2 pieces in? A nice wood carving now, so I'm satisfied with the way it patched. Right here I've got a beautiful piece of cottonwood bark. Nice, thick, long, probably weighs about 8 pounds. It's almost a worthless piece of wood. Because of the way this has developed, you can see this crack right here. This crack will continue on up into this area here. If you turn it over, try to carve it a different way, you've got another crack right here, and that will continue on up into there. So now someone has purchased a piece of wood like this thinking that they've got something that they can work with, and what you're going to have is a lot of trouble. Yet when I get a piece of wood like that with these beautiful natural shapes to it, I try to use them. I will carve into this, and I'll show you how it's done, and there are ways to hide these natural defects, similar to what we'll run into on this wood carving right here. I think you'll enjoy Tricks of the Trade. It'll save you a lot of time, and if you spent money on bark, you'll be able to use it and have it look good when you're done. All right, so what can we do with this piece of wood? It's got cracks. See here, cracks that are coming into here. It's a nice shape. It's a nice shaped piece of cottonwood bark. I'd hate to not to be able to use it. So I'll carve into it, and once I cut this top layer of bark down, it'll give me an idea of how far these cracks go in, and that, of course, tells me how much fixing up I'll have to do. Now, as I'm starting to carve down on this from this split right here in the bark, that's starting to throw that a little higher up into the neckline of this. I still haven't come down too much on the top to see where this split here will wind up. We'll deal with that when we get to it. We've got a little bit of a splitting here. But I think this will work good because we'll be able to patch it up like we did the other one. And I'll be able to carry a braid or some natural hair flow on this side and some down through here, and then just carve something for the center. So we'll salvage this really unique looking piece of bark. But down here, now this is going to present a problem. I'm a little bit wider on this side, and I can't get as wide on this side because of the way this is split right here. Very nicely. Can't ask for better than that. That big splits handled, it's covered. The wood carving looks good. We salvaged a nice piece of bark that had some unusual cracks to it, and nobody's going to complain about that. So, tricks of the trade. I'll do this. I'll take the feather, figure out about, where I want it to go on your feather. That's basically all you got to do. So other than sanding it up and finishing it, which I'm sure you can figure out. Now remember, on this carving, we were talking about this bad edge here. So let's fix that while we're at it. Now this area here needs a little help. That looks a little bit shoddy. So I'm going to work on carving this down just a little more, because I want this the braid wrapped in leather to flow down toward the end of the carving. So I have a little work to do there, and I need to blend it in on that other side. So without losing too much depth in the wood, we'll just go ahead and fix that up. And here's how we do that. Here, everything looks good. This is ready for sale. It's ready to go into somebody's collection. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos on YouTube, carving the Native American or the Eyes Have It, or carving the Old Man of the Mountains or the Wood Spirit, there are parts of the carving, that come down that can present some issues. What's very common with, of course, Native Americans are braids. And so I'll take in this piece of wood and we'll set up a braid. When I first started carving, because I never took really any major lessons to help me along, I took some pointers from other artists. But carving braids, it took me a while to figure out how to do it, and it really was so simple. I was so disappointed that I didn't come to the conclusion quicker. And I'll show you how it's done, and you'll think the same thing. Carving braids is really pretty simple. I hope this helps you out. Tricks of the trade. Keep in mind, I've been doing this for 35 years, so I've had a lot of practice. I've had a lot of situations where I didn't want to lose all the time and effort I'd put into a wood carving, and so I came up with ideas like this. I had to try them to see if they'd work, and they have, and so I'm passing that on to you. Go to ronadamson.com to get this DVD and others, such as The Eyes Have It, if you have trouble carving eyes or want to learn how to carve eyes, or just plain carving the Native American. I've got a good video on that ought to help you. So thank you very much. I'm Ron Adamson in Libby, Montana.